Standing by.
It's a parade of weak weather systems over the next several days, and the first one comes through tonight as a weak low moves across the lower Ohio Valley and exits Virginia with some rain to the north. And we're going to show you the radars. We also have some issues in parts of Texas, some severe weather also indicated in areas in Tennessee. We'll take a look at that. And in the southwest, where we've got flash flood and winter storm warnings up, as well as winter weather advisories. All that and more on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And shop Amazon, and that supports the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. You just use our referral link that's on the description to this podcast on YouTube to get you to Amazon. Do your shopping, and Amazon throws us some coin for sending you there, and it doesn't cost you a cent out of your own pocket. It keeps the live podcast commercial free, and we appreciate very much those of you who have shopped on Amazon. And Tempest by WeatherFlow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is also on the description to this podcast. And we have a coupon code, a special Joe and Joe Weather Show coupon code that Joe Rayo will now reveal.
And the coupon code is Autumn 2025. And if you use that coupon code, you get 10% off anything that you may like to purchase from the good folks over at Tempest.
Now, there are two other things that I want to point out, and the links for these are pinned to the top of the chat board. And actually, that worked out pretty good because the cover of the book, Joe, is squared right between us in the shot, which is nice. Ben River, who you may know as AKA Ben Scott, or Angry Ben's Angry Weather on Facebook. He does some work for me, helps me with one of my websites. Well, he's written a book, and it's a good read. Angel of the Storm: The Mysterious Path of an NYPD Cop. And Ben will take you on quite an adventure because he talks all about Hurricane Irene. We're going to hope to get him on the show in the coming weeks when he has some time. But you'll find the link for this pinned to the top of the chat board tonight, along with the link to this. Don Colgan, who occasionally is on the chat board, has written a book entitled Historic Winter Storms of New Jersey. And he will be on our show this Thursday, day after tomorrow. So you can ask him questions. We'll talk to him about his book and his thoughts. And the link for this is also pinned to the top of the chat board for the purchase on Amazon. So there you go. And here we are. Anyway, it'll be fun having both of them on, not at the same time. Each going to have their own day. But again, Don Colgan on Thursday, Winter Storms of New Jersey. So we've got this blocking pattern, Joe, that is essentially doing what blocks do. They block, and they keep storms from. I mean, really, that's what this one's doing. It's basically blocking it from getting too far north. There is some rain with it, but the bulk of that rain is going to pass. If you draw an east-west line through New York City and go across northern New Jersey and northern Pennsylvania in one end and across Long Island and out into the ocean, if you're north of that line, you probably won't see much of anything. If you're in southern New Jersey and point south, you could wind up with a quarter to a half an inch of rain.
This system is also going to be interacting with some cold air, and if you are located north of Interstate 287 in the lower Hudson Valley, it is quite possible that you will see snowflakes. I doubt very much if the snow is going to accumulate to any significant degree, but if you're out and about, let's say at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're traveling around in northern Westchester or portions of Rockland or Orange County, for example, Putnam County, where I am, you just might see a few snowflakes. But the thing about this, Joe, is that as you head north, you are gradually going away from the source of precipitation. The precipitation is going to be lightening up a bit. So even though it's turning colder and cold enough for snow, by the time you get up into, let's say, the I-84 corridor, you may not see much of anything at all. So it'll be an interesting night. You know, some will see a little rain, some will see a little bit of wet snow. When you wake up in the morning, it's probably going to be all but done. And actually, tomorrow looks like it's going to evolve into a lovely day, a wonderful day with lots and lots of sunshine. The wind machine, which has been so very active over the last couple of days, really wasn't all that bad today and tomorrow with enough sunshine. It should feel quite nice out there. Not saying it's going to be, enough so that you can doff your sweater and walk around in a t-shirt. Although I'll tell you what, men and women are very, they get acclimated to weather conditions very quickly. And who knows, it may be enough so that, hey, it may seem like it's springtime out there tomorrow with all that sunshine occurring.
And I'm thinking there's a system for Friday night into Saturday morning. Kind of looks like the same thing all over again.
Yes, and Rich Rothmansky, I saw that. The HRRR is suggesting that there could be some accumulations north of New York City, but just, how much can you possibly get out of a system that is coming by and just grazing the area like the one that's going to be grazing us overnight tonight? And
Right.
of course, as I say these words, I'm saying to myself, are we going to be in for a Gomer Pyle tomorrow morning? Am I going to
Jeez.
look out my window and see a quickie 1 or 2 inches of snow?
I
To which
doubt
I
it.
would hear to which I would hear the voice of the late great Jim Neighbors. Surprise! Surprise! Surprise!
Well,
I don't. I agree with you, Joe. I don't think that's going to
I
happen. But
doubt it.
I tell you though that there have been occasions in the past where that has indeed happened.
Oh yeah, and it's always fun it's always fun as a forecaster to be victimized that way. You know, so you don't want it to happen too early. And I always, and I've said many times, the first one of the season is always the toughest one to forecast because you've been away from it for so long. I wouldn't consider this that sort of system. So we'll save it for the first real accumulating snow when it comes, and I think it will come eventually. Here are the watches and warnings. Joe Rayo is going to load the radars up right now on the on his computer so that we will seamlessly switch from me to him, and he'll take you around momentarily to show you what's going on. But we do have a small area of a severe thunderstorm watch in northwest Tennessee, southeast Kentucky, Missouri, southeast Missouri, and northeastern Arkansas. One of these days, I'm going to take a drive. I want to be at the point where all four states meet and be able to stand in it. I mean, here I have the 3 points, the Georgia, North Carolina, and Georgia. I'm sorry, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Georgia, where the three states meet. I've been to that spot. Okay, so I want to go to that with this one because that's four. We have some dense fog possible in southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and southeast Louisiana. We have flash flood watches in south central Texas up, and in the southwest, in parts of Arizona, into southern Nevada, and also in the Sierra Nevadas, we have a compilation of flash flood watches, winter storm warnings, and winter weather advisories. In fact, I think we have winter storm warnings up for the areas not too far from Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, so just north of Las Vegas. I got to pick the right arrow for this. Let's see if I did. No, now I'm too far north. Okay, let's try straight south. Okay, that's the one. So Las Vegas is under a flash flood watch, but north of Vegas and also west of Vegas in some of the in those mountains, we do have winter storm warnings up. And let's see on the statement that they have. Winter storm warning until 4 a.m. Wednesday. Heavy snow expected. Total accumulations between 5 and 10 inches above 7,000 feet. Bring your oxygen can. And between 10 and 16 inches above 8,000 feet. And between 16 and 24 inches at 9,000 feet. So you got to be pretty far up. Now, Vegas, what's the elevation in Vegas? I'm going to check here. Vegas is 2,188 feet above. So you're basically talking another 5 or 6 thousand feet above that in order to get snow. Because Vegas right now is 52, and those mountain temperatures are in the 30s. And here's the surface map tonight. We have the low just east of St. Louis with a trailing stationary boundary that goes into southern Virginia and a cold front that runs from there southward into Arkansas and Oklahoma. So where we showed you where the severe thunderstorm watch is, it's right in the middle of that warm sector where temperatures are up in the 70s. We had a beautiful day here in North Georgia. I think I got to 70 today or just below it. Right now it's 58 at my house with a relative humidity of 36%. And here's the system in the southwest that's doing its thing with low pressure south of Vegas and the associated frontal boundaries that go with that. And that's some of that Pacific energy that has been coming in rather frequently lately. So here's a wide shot of the radar, and Joe Rayo, as I said, is going to take you around to some of those local radars that are busy just to the south of eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England.
Okay, well, I'm going to be starting a little bit further west, though, and this is the radar from Wilmington, Ohio. I didn't know that Ohio had a Wilmington. I know certainly North Carolina does, and Delaware does. Wilmington seems to be a very popular name among some of the states. But in any case, Wilmington apparently is in the southwestern part of Ohio, and you can see that it is picking up or has picked up on a band of locally heavy shower and embedded thunderstorm activity, which is crossing through southern sections of Ohio, also northern sections of Kentucky. I wonder if Mrs. Hutch is dealing with some lightning and thunder issues at the moment here, because that is a very rather potent line, although it does look like it's beginning to diminish or wash out a little bit as we progress toward the end of the loop. But there you see it crossing through, again, southern and southwestern Ohio and northern and northeastern sections of Kentucky. Now, if we go a little bit down further to the south and west, let's go to Evansville, Indiana, and you can see that there we see the tail or the trailing end of that area of shower and storm activity working its way across central and south central Indiana and then moving on out. Illinois, for the most part, is in the clear, save for a couple of spot showers here and also down towards St. Louis. In fact, if we go to St. Louis, we will see, come on, there you go, St. Louis and St. Charles, Missouri. St. Louis proper doesn't have much, but located south and east, well south and east of them, there are some little clusters of locally heavy shower and storm activity. In fact, if we go down in that direction, let's go toward Paducah, Kentucky. Here you see just a couple of stray but rather potent showers and thunderstorms crossing through southeastern Missouri and into the extreme southern and western end of Kentucky. And actually, Paducah is right here, and Paducah is out of it. They have a little stray cell to the north of them on the final few frames of the loop, and also the main batch or the main cluster passing off to their south. Now, if we progress eastward a little ways, let's go to Charleston, West Virginia, Ruthdale, and you can see West Virginia has a fair amount of showers and storms. The first batch seems to move off to the south and to the east, but then once they get into this like corridor of relatively dry air, here comes that batch of heavier rainfall that we posted just a little while ago over in southwestern Ohio and moving across northeastern Kentucky. There's another area right here moving through and moving into West Virginia. There's also another band of precipitation, light to moderate, moving across southwestern sections of Virginia down in this area here. Now, if we continue eastward, let's go to D.C. and Sterling, Virginia, and they are experiencing light to moderate activity in Washington and Baltimore, moving on toward the east toward Delaware, and you could see that. Here is I guess they called it the Mason-Dixon line. This is the boundary zone, the line that separates Maryland from Pennsylvania, and you can see that at the moment, most of the rain, most of the precipitation traveling due east and staying no farther north than that line, that boundary zone line. So at the moment, Pennsylvania is pretty much out in the clear, except for those areas just to that immediate north of the Maryland Pennsylvania boundary zone. And again, everything passing off to the east. We'll go for one more radar. Let's go to uh, Dover, Delaware. And so you see that this precipitation moving straight east will be affecting the southern quarter of New Jersey. Now, this is the area that is anticipated later tonight to make a more northerly trek or northerly turn and start coming up the coast, affecting New York and Long Island, and even possibly a part of the lower Hudson Valley. But for the moment, at least for the first half of the night tonight till about midnight, looks like all of those areas will stay dry as this area of precipitation travels or traverses eastward, again across Delaware, the lower part of New Jersey, and then out to sea. Anywhere else, Joe?
Yeah, load up Vegas. While you're loading up Vegas, I just want to say, Joseph Carr, thank you for hitting Super Chat tonight. Most appreciated. Happy birthday to Griller G, who went out to have his birthday dinner and made it back in time for the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which is on Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. Shameless self-promotion on my part. And Tom Contino, the word worried is probably not the right word. You said Tom says, I'm worried about potential wet bulb cooling and a surprise coating tonight. Change the word worry to praying because I think you want to see it. So you're praying for that. You're not worried about it. You're praying for it. Yeah, Vegas, that's a busy radar for Vegas.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
radar, the person working the radar tonight must be hacked off because the chances of seeing rain there are never very high.
But you can see that there's an area, and it actually, as the loop progresses, that area grows, if you will, or intensifies, and looks like it's going to be making a move right into the Las Vegas area. Oh, what are they people in? I've been to Las Vegas a couple of times. People just simply sit in the casinos and play for hours and hours, and they don't really, care what's going on outside. But if you are in Las Vegas and if you're walking along the strip, you better have your umbrella handy because you're going to need it. As you can see, all of this activity progressing on a south to north trajectory right on in to lost wages, if you will.
And by the way, that area is headed right over the spot that they have the winter storm warning up with the elevations over 8 to 9,000 feet and up with a foot and a half of snow. So no surprise there. And also kind of edging a bit to the west of that other area that's west of Vegas that's going to get clobbered. So there you go. You've got precip even in the fantasy land of Las Vegas, or as you said, lost wages. Yeah, that kind of works.
Yep.
Back to the wide shot, and this is what it looks like with the wide view, because there are also some showers in Southern California. Much of the state, though, is dry, and a little precip aloft in parts of Oregon and Washington State, and that pretty much wraps up the radar. The Storm Prediction Center in that area in southeast Kentucky. By the way, Mrs. Hutch on the chat board said that they had some lightning and thunder where she is. They have a slight risk of severe weather in that zone that Joe is focusing on where the severe storms, and there were a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that popped up on the radar a little while ago. Southeast Missouri, Northwest Tennessee, Southwest Kentucky, Southern Illinois, and a marginal risk that goes further east through Kentucky and into Northern Tennessee. The WPC rainfall forecast now, with the flash flood watches in South Central Texas. An area of 5 to 7 inch rainfall is being indicated throughout much of central Texas, up and down, north and south. and several to 5 inches of rain extending northeastward from there into Arkansas and southern Missouri. So, very wet weather system coming up for that part of the world. And with that second round of rain, second weather system, some ample rains for the lower Ohio Valley, where we're looking at an inch and a half to 2 inches forecast for Kentucky, northern Tennessee, and even into West Virginia with an inch and a half plus. A half inch, now this in New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, and points southward, a half to 3 quarters. Some of that is from tonight, some of that is from Friday night and Saturday. A quarter of an inch reaching up to just south of New York City and into northern New Jersey into southern Warren County, and then extending east from there to about Allentown or just north of Allentown. And then up in New England, it's basically less than a quarter of an inch of liquid or less, except for parts of northern New York and northern Vermont. Dry in the coastal southeast in Florida, dry throughout much of the northern plains and into the western Great Lakes, and then it picks up again in the Pacific Northwest. And you can see in the Southwest, we're looking at anywhere from a half inch to some patches of an inch and a half being forecast. So here's what the European model is showing. The GFS to me, I used to look at the GFS first, and now I just stopped doing that for a while because it's just it's not too bad in the short range, but when you start going out, you don't even have to go out that far, where it starts doing things that are a little weird. Here's the first low, and this is at the map that's up on the screen right now is 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., so 2 minutes from now. Again, the blocking, you see the isobars up in Atlantic Canada and New England. That's that low that's still out there to the northeast. So it really can't lift northward. The energy from it is being squashed. You see the European does generate an area of blue across northern Pennsylvania and into northern New Jersey, and even just kind of touching the Hudson Valley south of Route 84 with some light rain on Long Island and the rest of New Jersey and some heavier patches as you get down into Delmarva and eastern Virginia. But that's gone by just around daybreak. And then weather conditions should improve rather quickly for tomorrow as a high builds in and it looks nice and dry. Now, here comes the next round of Pacific energy. And you see the rain that breaks out Thursday across much of Texas and Oklahoma into Arkansas and Missouri. And it even continues into Thursday night, early Friday with some thunderstorms there. That low, again, we have this block. So even though the Atlantic Canada low is out, there's a weather front. There's a frontal boundary that's dropping southward from eastern Canada. So this thing is going to want to slide eastward rather than, it's only going to be able to get so far north. And if you want to allow for a little room for it to nudge northward, okay, but we're talking about maybe a minimal amount of rain here for Friday night into very early morning hours of Saturday, and then out. It lingers in Virginia and eastern North Carolina, and then goes away, and then another high builds in for Saturday, for the rest of Saturday, and for the rest of the weekend. And then going into Monday, again, there's a boundary just to the north. You can see there's some showers there, and there's some big rains breaking out again in Texas and Oklahoma. And the European has a little shot of colder air that comes in as the frontal boundary sweeps in Monday night and Tuesday for the northeast into the northern mid-Atlantic, takes the next low up into Ohio, weakens it as it moves eastward. I mean, that seems to be the theme here, Joe, that these systems, because of how the block has set up, that you got all this Pacific energy coming in, but when it gets, once it gets to the Appalachians, these lows just fall apart. And that happens again. The Europeans showing a little bit of moisture next Wednesday night, the big travel day, but not much. And then for Thanksgiving Day, it's kind of I don't know, let's call it an indifferent sort of day based on what the European is showing. And then it turns colder again going into the Thanksgiving weekend, where the Europeans got another storm system that comes up from the Gulf states and then runs up just inland of the coast, even shows some heavier snows, but this is too far down the road. We're still talking 12 days from now, so we'll just bank on the models being different. And I just want to check real quick on the West Coast here.
Before you get into this,
Yes.
Bobby Livingworth, I love the way you twist people's words around.
Oh, the inch or
I
two?
I mean, did I say that there was going to be a possible 1 to 2 inches?
Not that
No.
I recall. One
This
to
is
two
what I
flakes.
said.
One to
Let
two
me re-
flakes, maybe, but not 1 to 2 inches.
Let me repeat what I said. And if anybody here wants to differ with what I said, you're certainly welcome to post on the chat board. I said that I didn't expect anything. I thought we would get maybe some wet snow mixing in, or maybe some wet snow in parts of the lower Hudson Valley, but north of the I-84 corridor, I didn't think that much, if anything, was going to fall. And then I said, with a little tongue firmly planted in my cheek, I hope this doesn't turn out to be a Gomer pile. And on occasion, not every time, but on occasion, I've had a situation where, I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning, look out the window, and see 1 or 2 inches of snow. If that be the case, I will hear the late Jim Neighbors in my ear saying, "Surprise, surprise, surprise." Now, I did not say that I was expecting 1 to 2 inches of snow. I see Mr. Livingworth has been telling everybody, well, not everybody, but Tom Contino and a few others. He said,
Right.
"Well, Rail says we may get an inch or two of
All right.
snow."
Well, he also
No,
did come back. To be fair, he also did come back and said he must have misheard you.
oh
You did.
well,
You did mishear him,
but that
Bobby.
is the problem. That is the problem in today's society. People only want to hear initially what they want to hear, or people say later on, "Well, I must have misheard you," and
Right.
that happens
Well,
far
but
too much
Joe,
on social media.
I
Yes.
always said when I always thought that most people, when they listen, so if you said something like this, I'm just going to just an example. If you say a major winter storm is heading out of the southwest and moving northeastward, it's going to pass off the Virginia coast, south of New York City. Areas to the south will get a foot. New York City will get a coating to an inch. Okay. What they hear is a major storm heading for New York City, we're going to get a foot.
Yes.
And everything else is just nothing. Okay.
That,
So I get
I
it.
want to, and I also want to address something else. Tom Contino says, "Well, Joe Rayo oddly did not forecast on Facebook tonight." The oddly reason why I didn't is that today was Tuesday, and today is the day when I have my 22-month-old grandson, and the grandson. If any of you have grandchildren, especially at 22 months, they can be quite active and run all over the house, and that's exactly what our grandson does up until about 4 o'clock. However, there were some issues that have occurred around the house, which caused us to leave at 4 o'clock after our grandson left. We had to go to Home Depot and a couple of other places to take care of some shopping. Also, my computer has been acting up, so I've made an appointment to have it looked at on Friday. And by the time we got home, we were about, well, let's put it this way: dinner got started about a half hour to 45 minutes late, and I didn't finish dinner, and we didn't finish anything until literally just minutes before Joe and Joe started tonight. So I never really had a chance to get to the have the ability of typing out my phone. Now I've got the forecast here. Let me show you. Let me show you. Here is the forecast. I always put it together, write it down on my notebook here, and now it's just a matter of me being able to get some time to sit down and type it out, so that people like Tom Contino will be happy and satisfied that they are getting my nightly forecast. But tonight, for reasons beyond my control, I was not able to stay on schedule and do the forecast on tonight. But you will see it after Joe and Joe tonight. I promise all of you who rely on this, who will not do a darn thing until you see it on my Facebook page, I will get it up, probably by 8:20 or 8:30. So that'll make all of you happy.
All right.
Da-da.
Just a couple of parting things here for you, for all the winter weather lovers out there. As each day passes, I'm noticing that the the models are getting colder and colder in the longer term. And I mean, if it appears, uh, by the time we get to Thanksgiving Day, the day after Thanksgiving and beyond, if the European is correct, looking quite cold, going into the first days of December, and that's the last map that's up there on the screen is the upper air for Wednesday, December 3rd. I mean, if that verifies, it's cold. Okay, it's cold, and it'll be snowing somewhere, but it is cold. But the I've been saying all along that this autumn has been so much different than the past 5 or 6 autumns that we've had. The upper air, the things that have been setting up, how things have played out, just has been much different. And I think we're seeing where this is leading to as we get into the month of December. So we are going down an interesting road, I think, when it comes to the longer term. So I will
Yes,
leave you.
I could see what is setting up because as I look at these maps, I can just see myself on the 15-foot ladder holding a string of lights and freezing to death.
You could do it now.
I could, but it's still early.
And you
I
could put
would,
them up, and you don't have to turn them on.
I half kiddingly back, I think in September, on a beautiful day, I said to Renata, I said, maybe we ought to put the lights up. What are you, crazy? It's much too early. So, no,
Well,
we always wait until the wind chill is at least 20 degrees and, that sort of stuff.
and just a quick look at the stratosphere. We talked about this last night. We have a very stretched out polar vortex, and it's a new, it's weak. It's just gets all stretched out, and there's actually some kind of little low that breaks away and moves into the eastern part of the United States on the 12Z run, which was kind of interesting. So that part of the equation also seems to be holding on. I know there's been a lot of talk about all of this with stratospheric warming events, which have only happened. I think it's like 4 times in the last 50 years or so that there's been a stratospheric warming event in the month of November. So these are rare times indeed. You have Briller Jeopardy tonight?
Yes, I do. And I'm going to get it for you as soon as I get a chance to.
Oh, and by the way, Maggie P saying, and this might be another sign that the East is going to do well, at least in the next several weeks. She has not had a flake of snow in Denver yet, which is really unusual. Uh, I mean, we've had years where they've had a couple of snowstorms already,
In
but
September.
in September, so not a flake has fallen there where she is. So uh, more ridging in the west, more troughing in the east. Anyway, I'll leave you with that, and you'll get your snow soon when that if that pattern that the European has evolves, you're going to get some snow out of that. Okay, you got Briller Jeopardy?
Yes, I do. And here it comes. We are continuing with the 24-hour snowfall, the all-time record 24-hour snowfall in each state. And tonight we will begin with Michigan, the greatest amount of snow that has fallen in 24 hours within the boundaries or confines of the state of Michigan, both UP and LP, Upper Peninsula and Lower
Right.
Peninsula.
Well, you gotta know that. Well, everybody on the Upper Peninsula, all the cities there, their average snowfall is like over 100 inches in like Sault Ste. Marie and Marquette and so on. So I got to think they must have gotten some uh, hefty lake effect type uh, events. So I'll say 40 inches.
That is a very, very good estimate. Very good. You came a little bit too much, but very close to the 24-hour record for Michigan, Joe.
Well, Frank Scalera's got 38.
Frank Scalera, congratulations. You get a bell ring. There it comes. This is Kearsarge or Kearsarge. Michigan.
Michigan.
Michigan, Kearsarge, Michigan, 38 inches in one 24-hour interval for the
And
record.
the chairman, Scott Briller, hits the tip jar. Also, thank you, Scott, pointing out that on December 2nd, 1966, in Copenhagen, not Sweden, New York, set the 1 hour snowfall record of 12 inches of snow in 1 hour. I've
Oh
seen
God.
5 in an hour several times, but 12 I have
Ah,
not seen.
I have seen it. I have not personally. I remember during the megalopolitan blizzard in February of 1983, Allentown, Pennsylvania, came in with 5 inches of snow in 1 hour. And I said on WABC radio that night, I said, I can't even imagine seeing 5 inches accumulate in a single hour. 12 inches in 1 hour?
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Well,
Oh,
I've seen.
God.
I saw it a few times on Long Island at Islip, where it just basically pukes. It pukes snow. I mean, it's incredible. It's like you're in you're in a snow globe. Okay, what's next?
Minnesota. Minnesota. 1 day, 24-hour record for snow.
I'll say I'll say 25.
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that Minnesota can be very cold, and usually when it's very cold, it doesn't snow. But surprisingly, and maybe the tip off. Here's the tip off: Lake County. They must.
Oh yeah, you know what? By Duluth and all, by
I
the
guess.
lake.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. But yeah. So let's
Um,
see. Maggie P has already got it with with her
36.
36.
Okay.
36 inches for Lake County, Minnesota. There you go. Now, MISSISSIPPI, Mississippi.
I'll say in
Mississippi.
I'll say in Northwest Mississippi, probably if they could get 20 inches in Northwest Louisiana, I'll say 20.
I would agree with you, and I don't understand how there's a discontinuity between Alabama and Mississippi. I mean, they're right next to each other, and you wouldn't expect such a wide difference, but uh, 20 inches is too much.
Really? Well, at that latitude, those kind of things are probably freak events in isolated places in terms of those big amounts. How about Frank Scalera with 15?
How about Paul Roman? 12. That's it.
That's it? 12?
12
Where?
inches in Benton,
Oh, I know where
Mississippi.
that is.
Benton?
Yeah.
That's funny because I know where Benton Harbor is, but that's in Michigan.
Yes.
Benton Harbor, by the way, is also the hometown of legendary pro wrestler Bobo Brazil. If any of you have ever been to Benton Harbor, Michigan. Anyway, how about Missouri, Joe?
I'll say, well, the Ozarks and all. I'll say 30.
That's a bit too much.
A bit too much. Okay. Steve Lapointe says 26.
That's closer. In fact, it's quite close, but
Patrick
still a little
Darcy
bit
says
too much.
24.
I was about to say to Patrick Darcy, congratulations, 24 inches. That's right on the nose.
And
And
it's winter by the way. Winter's coming because Shrubby is back on the chat board.
Shrubby?
Shrubby
Oh,
is
yeah,
back.
yeah. There you go. Well, yeah, then winter
Yay
is
for
indeed
Shrubby.
right around the corner. And Mrs. Rayo points out on the chat board, Copenhagen, New York, is in the Tug Hill Plateau region. Well, that tells you right there
Oh
why they
yeah.
get a foot of snow in 1 hour. And that normally gets great snowfalls when the wind is just right off of Lake Ontario. And 12 inches in an hour. I'm shaking my head still from that. Here we go. Last one tonight is Montana, Big Sky Country.
Where in Montana? It's a big state.
Uh, this is the Bridge
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bulge.
You're right. I'm sorry. I got lost. Yeah, it's a state snowfall, seasonal. Um,
Yeah.
Had one of those brain fades, Joe. They happen at our age. Oh, I'll say 38.
Way too low.
Way too low. Okay.
Yes.
Rich Rothmansky says 48.
Still way too low.
Maggie P says double nickels.
That's still too low.
Wow. Wow. Um,
Mike Waterhouse Bonsai is by far the closest. In fact, it's very close with his 66, but it's
well,
still
Miss
still
Mrs.
still too low.
Too low. Wow. Isn't that something? Steve Lapointe now comes back with 68.
Steve Lapointe, you get the bell tonight on the final state. Montana, 68 inches. Bridge Bowl ski area. That is near Bozeman, Montana, 68 inches.
Okay. All right. I think that we'll wrap it up here. And I just want to, as we say goodbye, just a reminder that Don Colgan will be here, who's the writer of this book that you can find in bookstores and you can find it on Amazon. The link for it is on the top of the chat board if you like. It's Historic Winter Storms of New Jersey, and he'll be here Thursday to talk about it. And the other book link that we have up there is Angel of the Storm by Ben River, Angry Ben's Angry Weather on Facebook. And he talks about his life as an NYPD cop, aspiring meteorologist that got sidetracked by fate. Was an NYPD cop for almost 19 years, and he writes about that, and he writes about his experiences during Hurricane Irene because he used to work with the Coast Guard unit. So, very interesting, very interesting uh, life that he has led, and where uh, the fates have guided him to along
I
the
might
way.
also point out with Don Colgan's book that a very distinguished meteorologist wrote the foreword for the book.
Oh, well, thank you, but that's very kind of you to say. I did write the forward to the book.
All I said was it was a very distinguished meteorologist.
Right. Not a particularly well dressed one, though. Since I show up sometimes, with t-shirts, and tonight I got my flannel underneath. I got the sweatshirt over it. So, but thank you. Yes, I did write the forward to the book. So anyway, those links are on the top of the chat board, and we've got the other links that we usually put on for Tempest and for Amazon are on the description to this podcast on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time, and just want to say a big hello also to our growing audience on Spotify. So thank you for watching us, and we appreciate you very much being here. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Say good night, Mr. Rayo.
We're going off now?
Yes.
Oh, good night, everyone, and thank you for the 69 likes.